Yesterday you talked about, or you watched a video on multiply or adding and subtracting fractions. That was the first part. So hopefully you guys got good at it. You guys feel comfortable with it. This is the second part to that rational numbers 2 test. So if you feel confident after you've done some practice and you want to try it, you can go ahead, just go ask the sub. And she has the instructions on how to let you guys take some tests. All right. But for multiplying and dividing, it's really simple. When you multiply, all you're doing is you're going to multiply straight across. So multiply straight across. Okay, that's all you're doing. You're doing top times top and bottom times bottom. That's all. Alright, so in this case, we have 1 times 5, which is 5. 3 times 6, which is 18. So that's your answer. Alright, see if you can do the we do. Alright, hopefully you just multiply straight across. So 3 times 4. Hopefully you got 12. And do 8 times 12. Hopefully you did 8 times 12. If you didn't, do it right now. Okay, if you don't know how to do it, don't just say I don't know how to do it and just find the answer. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 1, which is 9. So you get 96. Now, one thing you have to remember is that you always have to simplify. Okay, remember that if you're simplifying and you have issues, try the numbers 2, 3, 5, and 7. Okay, always try those numbers. So if I look at these numbers, I say, okay, I have 12 and 96. I don't know what number can go into both of them. So I'm going to try, 2. I'm going to try 2. So I know that gives me 6. I don't know what this is, so I'm going to come over here and do 96 divided by 2. 2 goes into 9 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. When I subtract, I get 1. Bring it down. 2 goes into 16. 8 times 2 is 16. So I get 48. I'm pretty sure I can go a lot lower than that. So go ahead and see if you can simplify until you can simplify no more. Pause the video. Alright, so let's say you decide to divide by 2 again. So then I get 3 over, I don't know, 48 divided by 2. So I'm going to go over here and do it. Goes twice. 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down your 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. So I get 24. I think it could go in one more time. I think it could be divided by 3. So I get 1 over 8. Okay. Now, whenever you're multiplying, it's the same with, when we multiply fractions, it's the same with decimals and integers. So we're always going to do our tic-tac-toe chart. Okay, plus down the diagonal, and then we have negatives. So we have a negative and a positive mixing negative, so my answer is negative. Okay. If I make a mistake, just let the sub know. That way the sub can make an announcement later on. But don't freak out if I made a mistake, okay? Alright, you do. See if you can do it. Remember from yesterday, when you have a mixed number, what do you have to do? You have to change it. So try and change it right now. Alright, hopefully you did Texas. So what you're doing is you're multiplying here, 3 times 1, which is 3, and then you're adding 2, which is 5. So we get 5 over 3 times 1/2, and I think y'all can figure that out. Okay? For dividing is as simple as multiplication. There's just one extra step. When we divide, we're going to keep, change, flip. Okay? So we're going to keep the first number the same. We're going to change the division to multiplication, and then we're going to flip our fraction. So if we look at this one, we have 5 over 6 divided by 1/3. I'm going to keep this the same. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to change this to multiply, and I'm going to flip this so that it's now 3 over 1. And now I multiply like normal. 3 times 1, or 5 times 3, which is 15. 6 times 1, which is 6. Now, what happens when your top number is bigger than your bottom? You have to divide. So hopefully you got top and bottom out. 6 goes into 15 twice. 2 times 6 is 12. And I get 3. You can add a decimal at a 0, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it a fraction. So whole number. This is your numerator. And then your denominator stays the same. If you notice here, 3 over 6 can be simplified. So what we can do is we can divide this by, what do you guys think? By 3, because I can make it smaller. So I get 2 and 1 over 2. Okay, next one. Hopefully you guys can figure this one out. Remember, keep, change, flip. So hopefully you did it. If you didn't, pause the video and do it by yourself. Alright, so hopefully when you keep, changed, and flipped it, you got this. So now, multiply across. And remember to simplify. Okay, simplify. And then your answer is going to be negative, because a negative and a positive make a negative. This one I think y'all can figure out. Alright, number 7. Remember that when you have a whole number, you make it a fraction by putting it over 1. And then you do whatever operation it says. So it says to divide, so we're going to keep, change, flip, and now multiply across. Oh, no, 24, sorry. And that's it. It cannot be simplified. You go here. Remember, you got to put it over 1 and then solve. For this one, remember you have to change that. Okay, you got to change that. And this one has to be put over 1. We go down here. Remember that when we have a decimal, I talked about it yesterday in yesterday's video. But what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I don't have anything in front, so I don't have to worry about a whole number. But I take what's after the decimal, put it over 1, and then say, okay, how many times do I move the decimal? I move it once. So that means I'm going to have 1 0 after the 1. So this is my new fraction. Okay? Or times. And now I can just multiply across like usual. Remember, you have to simplify. So this one, when I multiply across, 3 times 2 is 6. 16 times 10 is 160. And negative makes a positive. Now I can definitely simplify this. So I'm going to try and simplify by 2. So I get 3 over 80. And I'm pretty sure that's it. 11. Remember, you have to change this one, and you have to change this. Sorry, you guys. And I have to change this one, okay? Remember, this 2 on the outside means that it goes here. This 2 means that it goes on top, and you can figure out what goes on the bottom. And then you have this one. This one is subtraction, so please don't get fooled, all right? So there you go. That's multiplying and dividing. That's about it. Finish the page, or finish both pages, and ask the sub if you could check your work. If you have time and you want to take the test, go ahead. Ask the substitute, and the substitute knows what to do. All right? Y'all be good for the sub.